For Viconia DeVir, a dark elf priestess from a city that worships a cruel spider goddess, the price was everything she had. Her refusal to sacrifice a baby didn't lead to some grand redemption. It led to a lifetime of exile, hatred, and one tragedy after another. This is the heartbreaking story of one of gaming's most complex characters, a woman caught somewhere between villain and victim, and defined by a pain that never truly left her. To get Viconia, you have to get where she came from. Menzoberranzan, the famous, infamous Drow city buried deep in the Underdark. Imagine a society built on a brutal matriarchy, constant backstabbing, and the zealous worship of the chaotic evil Spider Queen Lolth. Viconia wasn't just born there. She was born into nobility, a priestess of House DeVir, raised and steeped in this culture of absolute cruelty. In Menzoberranzan, showing compassion is a death sentence, and trusting someone is the quickest way to get a knife in your back. Viconia learned these lessons the hard way, surviving in a world where even her own mother saw her as just another rung on the ladder to power.
Destiny awaits.
For years, Viconia was a faithful servant to her goddess, but her life blew apart the day she was told to perform a ritual sacrifice. The offering? A helpless infant. In that moment, something inside of her broke. And in a profound act of defiance against her goddess, her culture, and her entire life, Viconia refused. In the eyes of Lolth, this wasn't mercy, it was heresy. Viconia's house was destroyed, and in a twisted attempt to regain favor, her own mother tried to sacrifice her. The only reason she survived was because her brother stepped in and saved her. An act of love that saw him horrifically transformed into a Drider. With her powers gone and branded a traitor, Viconia had no choice but to run, escaping to the one place all Drow are taught to fear and hate, the surface world.
I am yours to command.
But life on the surface wasn't any kinder. To the people above, her gray skin and white hair immediately marked her as a monster, an inheritor of her people's evil reputation. She was hunted, attacked, and driven from town to town. Near Bergost, she was cornered by so-called righteous folk and had to kill to survive, making her a fugitive all over again. This constant, grinding persecution turned her cynicism into a shield. Alone and hated by everyone, she found a new goddess in Shaw, the mistress of the night, a deity of darkness, loss, and secrets. It was a perfect fit for a woman whose entire existence had been defined by suffering and betrayal. When we first run into Viconia in Baldur's Gate, she's in a familiar spot, on the run from a Flaming Fist mercenary who wants her head. If you choose to save her, she'll join your party, but earning her trust is another battle entirely. She's pragmatic to a fault, deeply suspicious, and her outlook on the world is brutally cynical, a direct result of her past. She constantly clashes with the do-gooders in your party, who just see a Drow, not the wounded survivor underneath it all. But if you show her even a bit of acceptance, tiny cracks start to show in that armor, revealing a profound vulnerability and a desperate, deeply buried need for loyalty. If you're finding Viconia's story as compelling as I do, maybe think about subscribing for more deep dives into characters like her.
I shall follow your strength.
In Baldur's Gate 2, Viconia is, yet again, in mortal danger.
Look ye all upon this foul drow that we have bound before ye.
This time, she's about to be burned at the stake by a mob in the city of Athkatla for no other crime than just being a drow. Saving her again sets her on the most transformative path of her life. If the player romances her, it challenges everything she believes about herself and the world. With genuine patience and affection, Viconia slowly, painfully begins to open up, revealing the loneliness she's carried for decades. This bond can actually change her, leading her to question her cold faith in Shar and even shifting her alignment from neutral evil to true neutral, a massive change for a character so defined by darkness.
Shar guides my hand.
But Viconia was never going to get a simple, happy ending. Her past was a shadow she could never outrun. Even if she finds love, her story remains a tragedy. In one of her most poignant epilogues, she struggles with her new life, eventually founding a cult dedicated to Shar in her lover's name, only to abandon it and wander the world alone, unable to escape her own nature. By the events of Baldur's Gate 3, we learn her path ultimately led her to become the Mother Superior of a Sharran enclave in Baldur's Gate, cementing her legacy as a figure of unshakable, tragic faith. The hatred of the Spider Queen may have set her on this path, but it was her own choices that kept her on it. So, was Viconia DeVir a villain? A victim? The truth is, she was a person forged in a monstrous culture, damned for a single moment of humanity. Her life was a brutal cycle of persecution and survival, where every time she found a glimmer of light, the darkness, both from the world and from within herself, rushed in to snuff it out. Her journey is one of incredible resilience, but it's also a harsh lesson that some wounds never really heal, and some pasts can never be escaped. Viconia's story is a painful, beautiful, and unforgettable look at what it means to be broken, and the faint flickering hope of maybe one day being whole again. So what do you think about Viconia's journey? Was there any hope for her, or was she doomed from the start? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the worlds we love to play in. Thanks for watching.